The longest government shutdown in history is officially over. In just the last hour, President Trump signed a bill to fund the government through the end of January. The shutdown's real-world toll hit millions of Americans hard. And tonight, even with the government back open, the repercussions are not over. Thank you for watching our special coverage on the government shutdown. I'm Bridget Chavez, and this is King 5 Plus. For 43 days, the government shutdown has dragged on, and the fallout is touching nearly every corner of American life. But this week, in a surprising turn, a small group of Senate Democrats joined Republicans to pass a bill to reopen the federal government. That bill was passed earlier this evening in the House of Representatives. The agreement has Democrats divided because the deal does not extend the Obamacare subsidies the party was holding out for. Here's what it does include: relief for SNAP recipients and help for federal employees who lost their jobs during the shutdown. All Republican lawmakers from Washington voted for the bill, and all Democrats from Washington voted against it, except for one. Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez from Southwest Washington voted for the bill, saying in part, "The fight to stop runaway health insurance premiums won't be won by holding hungry Americans hostage." Now, historically, shutdowns aren't new, but the length of this one is. President Ronald Reagan saw a lot of shutdowns, but they were quick, over in just a couple days. George H.W. Bush had a 3-day shutdown. President Bill Clinton had the first real marathon shutdown, 21 days in 1995. President Barack Obama hit 16 days in 2013, and President Trump pushed it to 35 days during his first term. At the time, that was the longest in U.S. history, and now another record setter. One of the biggest impacts this time around was to air travel. Last week, the FAA reduced flights at 40 of the nation's busiest airports, including SeaTac. I spent 2 days at the airport speaking with passengers who were worried about their travel plans. Here's what they had to say.
Well, I was super nervous knowing everything that was going on.
About 4% of flights at SEA Airport were canceled today. That's nearly 30 flights as airlines begin trimming down schedules at the request of the FAA.
I'm not happy about it.
The reductions come as air traffic controller staffing concerns continue to mount amid the government shutdown. It's impacting travelers just as many are trying to make plans for the holidays. Deborah Fudge says she's not flying for the rest of the year.
The government not paying their people to come into work, because I'm sure that Congress and senators, they're getting their paycheck. And nobody else is getting theirs, and it's not fair. It's just not fair.
Airlines say they're trying to limit the disruptions by making smaller cuts, reducing how often certain routes take off instead of eliminating them completely. The CEO of American Airlines says they're cutting flights that use smaller planes first.
It's more taking frequencies like Miami to Orlando from 9 flights to 8 flights, or DFW to Corpus Christi from 7 flights to 6 flights. It's that kind of stuff right now. Now, this level of cancellation is going to grow over time. And, that's something that is going to be problematic.
Even with the uncertainty, many passengers are trying to stay positive.
I wasn't actually too worried again because I was flying this week, and so far I've had good luck getting in and out of airports.
Like Matt O'Leary and his son Miles.
Green Bay Packers game.
Focusing on their boys' trip. They say if they get stuck in the Midwest, it may not be the worst thing.
Either stay with family, find another flight, or these guys will be missing more school.
We've seen fallout everywhere, including right here in Washington, where 900,000 people lost their food benefits on November 1st, all because of the shutdown. It's one of the biggest hits to low-income families in this entire crisis. King 5's Natalie Swaby explains how local nonprofits are scrambling to help.
1 in 8 Americans relies on the SNAP program to buy groceries each month. With that assistance running out, food banks prepare for an increase in demand at an already difficult time. A problem looms inside this warehouse that supplies more than 300 food banks, pantries, and shelters across western Washington.
A lot of these boxes are empty. They're waiting for food so that we can pack them and ship them out. So we have a lot of space, but I've never seen our warehouse as empty as it is right now.
Northwest Harvest sees the same crisis.
This really feels like an unprecedented time, a time of very high need.
We have high levels of food insecurity left over from the pandemic, but caused by high costs for groceries and inflation. Now you're having the retreat of federal support.
The USDA's website now displays this warning: the well has run dry. The ongoing government shutdown threatens SNAP benefits set to expire November 1st. The state says 930,000 Washington residents will lose food assistance.
I think there's going to be a massive increase for every food bank and every food pantry across the state.
Just starting to layer one thing after another.
Food banks, already stretched thin, are calling for help.
I personally have reached out to Washington State Department of Agriculture and the governor's office saying, we see this coming, we think it's really serious, and a lot of households are going to be in need.
Nonprofits are urging the state to tap rainy day funds and are asking for the public's assistance too.
There's just not enough to go around. We need people and communities to reach out now, to donate, to volunteer at a local food bank or food pantry. We have an immediate problem that has to be solved today.
DSHS says without restored federal funding, it cannot issue food benefits starting Saturday. SNAP-funded employees may face temporary layoffs, which could close mobile offices and increase wait times. In Seattle, Natalie Swaby, King 5 News.
Our Home Team Harvest food drive is underway. Together with Northwest Harvest, our goal this year is $5 million to provide food for our neighbors all across Washington. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to donate now or give directly when checking out at your Safeway or Albertsons store. And stay with us. We'll hear from a former Washington Attorney General about the fallout millions are facing and what comes next as the government reopens. Welcome back. The shutdown may be over, but the big question now is, what does this deal actually change and what comes next? I brought those questions to former Washington Attorney General Rob McKenna. But how did we even get to a shutdown lasting this long, and what does this moment tell you about political pressure points inside Congress?
Well, I think the political pressure comes from each party's base. As I often say, the partisans are more afraid of their own base than they are of the other party. And I think we saw that very clearly with Democrats who were under a lot of pressure to stand up to President Trump, to show their resilience and toughness. And we saw for 40 days that Republicans weren't willing to give the Democrats, their main demand, which was an immediate vote on the extension of tax credits for Obamacare premiums. So, both sides dug in, but they were clearly negotiating behind the scenes. When you look at the settlement or the compromise that was reached in the Senate, it included a number of points that Democrats demanded. For example, they demanded that any workers who were laid off be hired back. They demanded that people get back pay. So they got a number of points, and they got a commitment to hold a vote on the tax credit for Obamacare premiums by mid-December. So they didn't get it immediately, but they got it, and they can declare victory there. So that's why you saw 8 more moderate Democrats decide to vote with the Republicans on that package in the Senate.
So why is that such a sticking point?
The subsidies are important because you have people, I think over 20 million people who rely on Obamacare, and the subsidy, without the subsidies, the Obamacare premiums are very expensive. At the same time, it's very expensive for the federal government, which is a point that conservative Republicans are making. The cost of the premiums to the federal government is roughly tripled. So it's a lot more expensive for them as well. It's partly because healthcare costs continue to escalate in our country with no end in sight. So you have fiscal hawks on the one hand, you have people very concerned about folks not being priced out of Obamacare on the other hand, and that creates the tension. That will be resolved one way or the other in mid-December when they take the vote that they've agreed to take on whether to extend the expiring credits. Remember that the credits were supposed to be a temporary measure. When they were adopted with a specific time frame of, I want to say, 3 years, and I think that happened during COVID. But they were not passed to be permanent. So it's always been known they would have to be reauthorized to continue to exist.
Now, we've been breaking down the fallout tonight. Nearly 1 million Washingtonians losing food benefits, federal workers being laid off. Legally, this level of disruption just baked into the system, or is there something that failed here?
Yeah, and the benefits are really the key issue here. 1 in 8 Americans rely on SNAP benefits. That's 42 million people, and that's, I think, around double the number of people who are being subsidized for Obamacare. So, also the immediacy of needing food is greater than maybe having to pay higher premiums even now or down the road. So it turns out that the administration's unwillingness to simply allow SNAP benefits to be funded, even out of emergency reserves, was a real pressure point. I know from listening to an interview with Senator John Fetterman from Pennsylvania that was a key point for him. And I think reading the reports or the summaries of press conferences that the other 7 Democrats in the Senate have held who voted for the compromise, it was clear SNAP benefits were clearly important to them as well, getting those funded as soon as possible, and getting the promise that there will be a vote on the Obamacare tax credits.
Can you walk us through what actually happens next? So what does the transition look like behind the scenes, and how soon could things start getting back to normal?
I assume there are some logistical issues with getting people back to work who have been on furlough. But then there's just the practical implications of, getting the machinery of government turning again. The longer the government is shut down, the longer it takes to get people back. And, there's obviously going to be a lot of pressure on key government personnel like air traffic controllers to get back to work immediately.
All right, Rob McKenna, thank you so much.
You bet. Thank you.
Coming up, SNAP cuts aren't just numbers on a page. They're slamming local food banks and pushing one Washington tribal nation to declare a state of emergency. Washington, the lapse in SNAP benefits pushed the Yakima Nation to declare a state of emergency. King 5's Alex McClune shows us how the tribe stepped in to help members and others struggling to make ends meet in the Yakima Valley.
There are hundreds of cars in this parking lot, and for 3 days now, 500 people have been walking up this ramp each day and through that door to get money for food and bills, and Friday is the busiest day yet.
Next.
This is not a food drive.
I need you to sign this.
It's a state of emergency. A Department of Commerce emergency grant is paying for tribal members' needs to get by, and it's open to anyone else who needs it in the Yakima Valley.
I was released from my employment in September, so this is the first time that I've actually had to utilize services.
Sherry is navigating the system she used at her last job to help clients. She's here to feed herself and her son and to keep their apartment.
Before September, I was actually going to purchase a home.
Sherry says the budget got tighter and the choices got harder. Groceries versus gas, the light bill versus new shoes.
Skincare products, for example, the kind that I like, to now I'm going to have to pick or choose. He will always go with what he needs. Budgetary will always go towards my son, always. I'll go without a meal if I have to, which I've had to. Yeah, I've had to.
Yakima County has the highest SNAP reliance in Washington, 22%, about 57,000 people. The Yakima tribe leaders say the share on the reservation is higher at 33%, which is about 3,600 people.
Declaring a state of emergency just to make sure that we're protecting our people.
The tribe says its fisheries staff are also giving away surplus salmon. The delicacy meant for celebrations is now out of necessity, so the tribe and the rest of Yakima Valley won't go hungry.
I feel so much better. Like I'm going to be able to go home and just be okay and not have to stress for the month of November.
This is the last day for emergency services. The tribe says if you still need help, contact them directly. In Toppenish, Alex McClune, King 5 News.
After SNAP funding ran out, food banks across Western Washington saw a huge need. King 5's Alex McClune spoke with a woman whose family relies on food assistance.
Stephanie Harris faces a life-changing choice.
Hearing that it was going to be cut made me feel like I was going to need to stop going to school and find a job or something, because at 30 weeks pregnant, it's like, who's going to even hire me?
She recently stepped away from working in social services. Now she's looking to better her family's future by going back to school. But outside one of the state's largest food distributors, the pregnant Seattle mother of 3 worries her plan could be crushed. She's relied on SNAP benefits while transitioning into a new way to support her family.
It just feels really unfortunate to have to quit school. It's something that I've really worked hard on for these last 6 months.
The USDA has until Monday to decide how it will pay for November benefits. Local food banks say even with the ruling by 2 federal judges, the uncertainty is creating greater demand. New faces are showing up for help.
What we are committed to is meeting the demand.
Rainier Valley Food Bank is seeing the sharpest spike in need in the city. It serves 800 families each week, plus hundreds more through home delivery and lunch programs. With the unprecedented demand, the City of Seattle's Human Services Department is considering sending their employees out to get more boots on the ground.
The city has also been contemplating whether or not they could repurpose city employees to come help out, maybe deliver groceries for us to our home delivery clients. We could probably build more capacity to serve more households that way.
Rainier Valley Food Bank hosts pop-up markets on Fridays. It's just a couple blocks away from the food bank and right here on the bus line and the light rail station.
People and companies across the region are stepping up. The Safeway Foundation is distributing $2 million in grocery cards. The United Way of King County is creating a website to organize food bank volunteers. The Jewish Federation of Greater Seattle is giving away $150 grocery gift cards to clients. And more than 600 donors have raised over $100,000 for Rainier Valley.
It is an all-hands-on-deck enterprise.
Grateful to be able to speak out, and hopefully somebody hears it somewhere, but I won't hold my breath, because I know that things are looking bad for a lot of families and a lot of people right now.
In Seattle, Alex McClune, King 5 News.
Our Home Team Harvest food drive is officially underway, and we're teaming up with Northwest Harvest to make a real impact. Our goal, $5 million to help families across Washington put food on the table. You can jump in right now. Just scan the QR code right there on your screen or donate at checkout at any Safeway or Albertsons. We will be right back. For families hit hard by the shutdown and cuts to SNAP, the struggle to get by now includes their pets. The Kitsap Humane Society says the need at its pet food pantry is surging. King 5's Pierce County Bureau Chief Connor Board met with families seeking help and the team racing to keep up with the demand.
This has been very helpful.
Inside two small buildings at the Kitsap Humane Society in Silverdale is a bit of hope to help families provide for their pets.
Yeah. I'm just picking up some food for my puppies. I got 2 of them.
This is the second time Cindy Townsend and her family have had to use the pet food bank.
That's only because of the shutdown and everything. It's been a little difficult.
We expect to have a huge surge in need.
The Kitsap Humane Society says this area has been heavily impacted by the government shutdown. Many military and government employees live in the area, in addition to people who depend on SNAP benefits.
A lot of times people will, they'll feed their pets before they feed themselves.
Even before the shutdown, demand was rising. They have seen an 80% increase in requests for free pet food this year compared to last year and have already served more than 600 families in 2025.
We're able to help them out, give them some pet food and make them last through the next paycheck.
The goal is to keep families together, including the furry family members.
If animals come in, we'll find them great homes, but we'd rather keep them in the home they're in. And if we can do that by providing food or providing veterinary care that they can't get elsewhere, that's what we're doing.
Right now we're inside the pet food bank building that's for cat food. You can see on the shelves behind me there are empty spaces, and they're hoping that those can be filled with donations to help meet the increased need in the community.
We need whatever donations we can get. It's going to be a busy month for the pet food pantry.
It's a resource those facing hard times are thankful for.
It's amazing that there are people that do help like this.
In Silverdale, Connor Board, King 5 News.
A Bonnie Lake veteran has stepped up to help military families during the government shutdown. He's using commissary gift cards to make sure that no one gets left behind. King 5's Brady Wakayama spoke with the man behind this mission.
We care. We care. I mean, you're not alone.
Dale Herron continues to serve every day. He spent 14 years in the Navy. Now he's a board member with Mission Outdoors, a nonprofit helping military and first responder families. With the government shut down, he's leading a drive to hand out commissary gift cards to military families at local bases.
The commissary gift cards are important because you have to have military ID on base to use this gift card. So we know it's going to the family members of these military members, as well as the military members in need.
Herron says with pay and benefits disrupted, some services are at risk of not having enough food or resources to get by.
Even without the shutdown, military members don't get the best of pay, enlisted especially. Their pay is bare minimum. What makes up for that pay is the added benefits, the extra stuff on base, the discounts that's given, that's provided. Now, during a shutdown, I would imagine that those extra added stuff are non-existent.
He came home the other day saying that his paycheck was $0.
Danielle lives in Kitsap County. Her husband served in the Navy for 16 years and is currently in the U.S. Navy Reserve and working as a federal employee.
Just see our bank accounts and there's nothing there. And that's especially for military families who are like serving this country and everything. It's just, it's impossible to even think that that's happening right now.
Herron has raised $3,000 so far, money heading straight to JBLM, with other bases across the state in the works. A mission Danielle believes will make a huge impact.
The stress of like not being able to put food on your kids' plates is a lot. So one gift card can just, you know, give dinner, give lunches, something to the family.
And you can find out how to donate or get involved with Herron's campaign on our website, king5.com. In Bonnie Lake, Brady Wakayama, King 5 News.
Earlier this week, the shutdown forced some Veterans Day events to be canceled across the country, including here in Western Washington. King 5's Christian Balderas reports from Tahoma National Cemetery, where thousands of American flags were not on display this year.
The news that many of these graves will not have American flags displayed for Veterans Day came as a huge disappointment for many. Some took it upon themselves to place their own flags out here in honor of those who served.
It's something out of our control, and yeah, it is sad.
For Ray and Kathy Meckley, the holiday is about honoring all veterans, including those who've passed.
My dad was 87 and my mom was 93.
This year, they're among just a handful of people who visited the Tahoma National Cemetery Monday to stake an American flag on their loved ones' graves. This year, not every grave will have one.
It's a kind of a, I don't know, a letdown. But, you know, this is the way life is. You got to roll with it.
Normally, cemetery staff and student volunteers place flags on 50,000 graves in honor of Veterans Day. But on Facebook, the cemetery explained there's a lapse in federal funding, leaving only limited staff on site to help with burials and to maintain the grounds. This disrupts an over 20-year tradition for the Tahoma School District. A spokesperson wrote, "We know this news is deeply disappointing, and we share that feeling with our students, families, and community, as this event holds significant meaning for all of us." This is just the latest impact of the government shutdown, now going on 41 days, the longest in U.S. history.
Playing their political games they're famous for.
The Meckleys say Congress is to blame. They believe this will happen again.
The trickle-down effect, it messes with the little people. Yeah. You know, us guys down, us bottom feeders are the ones that suffer.
I tried to speak to staff on site, but they would not comment. In Kent, I'm Christian Balderas, King 5 News.
And coming up next, we'll break down what happens if health insurance subsidies under the Affordable Care Act expire. Stay with us. of the biggest fights in this shutdown is over whether to extend the enhanced health insurance subsidies under the Affordable Care Act, a decision that will affect millions of families. King 5's Mimi Jung breaks down what these subsidies are and what happens if they expire.
When the ACA or Obamacare first rolled out in 2014, it included premium tax credits to help people pay for insurance. But there was a catch. Those tax credits were limited to people making less than 4 times the federal poverty level. So if you made a little too much, you got no help at all. Then came the pandemic. In 2021, the American Rescue Plan Act made a big change. It temporarily boosted those subsidies and removed that income cap. That meant people making over 400% of the federal poverty level, about $62,000 a year for an individual, could qualify for help. Congress extended those subsidies again in 2022 through the Inflation Reduction Act. Now we're coming up on that deadline. Unless Congress agrees on another extension, the enhanced tax credits expire at the end of this year. They will only be available to people with lower income households starting in 2026, which means many middle income families could see their premiums skyrocket. I checked the Washington Health Exchange and compared plans, and this is what I found. For example, a married couple in King County in their 50s making $120,000 a year could see their premium increase from $425 to nearly $1,400 a month. About 80,000 people here in Washington could drop their health insurance because they can't afford it.
Now, a lot of families are dreading that upcoming deadline. One Washington woman signed up for Obamacare this summer when she lost her job. Now she just found out her premium is going up more than $500 a month. King 5's Drew Andre shares her story.
I'm actually really anxious about what it looks like to not have my mental health medication because I can't afford the $600 a month. That's half my rent.
Jessica Elston, a single mother of 2 from Richland, Washington, is one of about 216,000 people in the state who rely on the Affordable Care Act subsidies to afford their insurance.
When I went to renew for this year, not only had my premium went up by like $200, I then no longer got the subsidies. So I went from $93 a month to $624 for the same plan.
The average Washingtonian that qualifies for the tax credit saves about $1,300 a year. For seniors, it's closer to $2,000. So for many, there could be serious lifestyle changes. Jessica is already trying to taper down her medication to prepare for losing it altogether.
What do you think lawmakers should understand about what people like you are going through right now?
I went from being like pretty well employed in the tech industry, but in a tech job in January, to now being, I don't know, like on the verge of homelessness. Not really, but you know, once unemployment runs out, we don't have another safety net here. And so we're just waiting, I guess, for it all to bottom out. I don't know.
Thousands of federal employees in Washington state spent weeks of uncertainty. We'll hear from workers who are still waiting for a paycheck. That's coming up. More than 80,000 federal employees live here in Washington state. And when the shutdown first started, King 5's Olympia Bureau Chief Drew Mickelson spoke with one employee who feared she may not get paid for weeks.
The White House said today layoffs are imminent because of this shutdown. While Democrats and Republicans fight it out in Washington, D.C., families here in Washington state sit and wait, finding out if their jobs are going to be around much longer and how long it'll be before they get paid again.
We all dedicate ourselves not just to the paycheck, but for what we do for national security.
Tierra Beauchamp is an engineering technician at the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard in Bremerton. And as union president, she's hearing the concern from coworkers in this shutdown.
The hardest part is the uncertainty. I mean, we already know now we're getting a partial paycheck next week, and that right there is very stressful for all of us.
Thousands of federal workers, like TSA agents, determined to be essential, are still on the job, but they won't get paid until the federal government shutdown ends. While agencies still work out the details, thousands have been furloughed. The Veterans Administration hospitals are still treating patients, but career counselors and office staffers are not working. Mount Rainier National Park remains open, but with limited staff and services. But that could change. When the government last shut down in 2019, after 2 weeks, the park locked its gates to everyone. In Bremerton, Beauchamp says she and her coworkers will keep working, serving their country.
And we all take that very seriously. It can bring some serious anxiety not knowing if, we're going to be able to make ends meet.
Tierra Beauchamp is a mother of 6. Her husband is a sailor in the Navy. She did not want any photos of her family released out of fear of retaliation for speaking out about the shutdown. In Olympia, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
The government shutdown also impacted companies supplying services to Joint Base Lewis McChord. 85 janitors have been temporarily laid off. Sarah, the Kitsap County company that employs them, says it was notified by the Army on October 30th that funding would run out the next day. In a statement, the company says furloughs will last until Congress passes a spending bill to restore funding, which has now happened. The government shutdown hit in the heart of hurricane season. NOAA forecasters and FEMA responders are still working, but with both agencies already strained, the shutdown adds new challenges. Ivan Rodriguez reports.
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the Federal Emergency Management Agency will remain open because they're deemed essential to the protection of lives and property, but employees will still feel the impact.
They're doing the work without pay, without an understanding of when this shutdown is going to end. Will they get that back pay eventually?
Chris Vigaski with WiscoNet says he hopes the shutdown is resolved quickly so it doesn't severely impact the livelihoods of employees. The Weather Forecasting Agency has less than 4,000 employees for the first time in decades. It lost more than 560 people to layoffs, early retirement incentives, and other programs aimed at shrinking the size of the federal government. The agency has enough staff to accurately predict tropical storms and hurricanes, says a NOAA official who spoke to CNN on the condition of anonymity for fear of retribution.
The question, of course, is for how long and what other supporting capabilities, if you will, might be compromised, especially with so many people being furloughed right now.
With some local NWS offices short-staffed, former NOAA Administrator Richard Spinrad worries about weather events happening simultaneously across the country.
What happens if we have another hurricane outbreak and some wildfires in the West, severe drought in the Midwest? All of a sudden, you're stretching that workforce so very thin with regard to providing those services across the country and for all of these different environmental hazards.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
After SNAP benefits expired, a surge of people in need showed up at a Tukwila nonprofit. King 5's Madeline Carter has the story.
Can I have two? Because I have a lot of food.
Free food.
Yes, some onions.
When this Samoan mom of 3
Thank you.
needs it most.
It's not easy right now. They laying off me from my job last Tuesday. We really need food for my kids, so that's why I came here.
Here at Oceania Northwest's Tukwila Village Market, Elizabeta Vaiti Tafa feels God.
I feel him every time I come in here, you know, the spirit with the people around here.
Answering her prayers in the form of volunteers, helping Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander families like hers stock up without spending a dime. Thursday's turnout was their biggest yet.
About 200 people came through here earlier, shopping for everything from food to hygiene products. The man in charge of this market says there's a reason why the need is higher now than ever before.
$700 that out of nowhere was stripped from them. So that's what we're trying to accommodate, trying to give out more food.
After nearly a week without SNAP benefits, many of these bins are empty. A sign of just how many people came looking for help during the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. A judge ordered the Trump administration to restore November SNAP benefits by Friday.
I'll take two.
Yet the rollout may face delays, leaving Washington families like Elizabeta's wondering where their next meal will come from.
We're paying rent, bills, food, but we're good. We have free food from them.
It's giving people hope, and that's what we hope to do out of Oceania Northwest.
A Seattle coffee shop is stepping up in a big way to help families who rely on SNAP. Toasted Bagel and Coffee says breakfast is on them. The owner says it's no questions asked, just a neighbor helping a neighbor. King 5's Brady Wakayama shows us how a simple idea is spreading hope one meal at a time.
We're here at Toasted Bagels and Coffee in South Lake Union. Starting Saturday, breakfast is on them. They're picking up the tab for families who are losing their SNAP benefits.
We want people to feel warm, welcoming, and also a very big pillar of Toasted is like social responsibility.
Staff at Toasted Coffee and Bagels in Seattle are taking it upon themselves to make sure families aren't going hungry, with SNAP benefits ending this weekend.
Thinking about, people not being able to put food on their plate for their family, for their kids, grandma, grandpa, it's just very sad. And we want to make sure that we can lend a helping hand. 24-year-old Marat Accuse and his co-founder of this cafe have firsthand experience of what SNAP benefits can provide for a family. My family, when we first immigrated to the U.S., we relied on the SNAP's benefits to just get us through a regular life. My dad worked 70 plus hours, our family of 5, and we still needed that $500, $700 extra to make groceries for the house. More than 930,000 people in Washington rely on SNAP. The federal program provides up to $994 a month for a family of 4. With that all on the line, Accuse created the Put It On My Neighbor's tab initiative. No proof, no questions. Just say the line, and the baristas will hand over a free breakfast starting Saturday. Toasted is covering the first 100 meals, and every donation after that helps feed the next neighbor. Donations are just coming in like every minute, from $1 to up to $500. It's just super cool to see. In less than a day, Toasted has raised more than $24,000, enough to cover at least 4,000 breakfast meals. The idea came from a coffee shop in Portland, and Accuse hopes that kindness keeps pouring over. If someone is gonna not go hungry for one more day, that feels good. To donate or learn more about the campaign, visit our website, king5.com. In Seattle, Brady Wakayama, King 5 News.
Elsewhere in Washington, people in rural communities banded together to brave the difficult days. Everything from food banks to nutrition and education programs were impacted. King 5's North Bureau Chief Eric Wilkinson takes us to Skagit County to see how people there are coping.
At the Skagit Valley Neighbors in Need Food Bank, Director Steve Fox is fed up with the government shutdown.
Oh, it drives me nuts. There's no reason for this.
Volunteers here are preparing for as many as 600 people at this week's food distribution, 30,000 pounds of food, numbers that have been steadily growing in recent weeks.
For us, it's just a matter of, do we have enough food And how long will we have enough food?
Rural areas like Skagit County have a higher percentage of SNAP recipients than urban centers in Washington, making cuts here run even deeper. Nearly 16,000 people in Skagit County depend on federal SNAP benefits. That's roughly 16% of the population, double the number in King County and well above the state average of 11%.
A lot of farm workers, a lot of low-income families, and a lot of families with a lot of children.
So they'll come over here and they'll come and grab their ingredients that they need.
While SNAP funding has been partially restored through the end of the month, other programs like SNAP Ed are gone for good. In its 33rd year, the program brought nutritional and financial information to 1.3 million people across the state every year, teaching people how to stretch their benefits to the fullest and make healthy food choices. The program closes permanently at the end of the year.
A recent study showed that for every dollar spent on SNAP Ed, over $5 is saved in the long run from reduced healthcare costs, educational attainment, life expectancy.
The elimination will hit rural counties especially hard, specifically farm worker families already struggling with food insecurity amidst immigration crackdowns.
For especially the farm workers, there's so much fear. Even just to go to a food bank that like is supposed to be a safe place to offer food.
Back at the food bank, Steve Fox worries how much longer he can continue with cold weather and the holidays just ahead.
That's what keeps me awake at night, is wondering if I'm going to have enough food for the next 2 or 3 food bank weeks. Right now we're in good shape, but if this continues, we'll be scratching and clawing.
Eric Wilkinson, King 5 News.
You can help those in need by donating to this year's Home Team Harvest food drive in partnership with Northwest Harvest. Scan the QR code right there on your screen to donate now or give directly when checking out at your Safeway or Albertsons store. We'll be right back. Looking ahead now to what comes next now that the government is officially reopened. This bill keeps the government open for now, but it creates Supreme Court paused a lower court order. Others only sent partial benefits, and some haven't issued anything for November yet. Once the funding package is signed into law, the USDA says it will send guidance to states within 24 hours. Many could issue full payments in 1 to 3 days, but others may take up to a week as they calculate what families are still owed. If you've got a flight coming up, be prepared. Normal operations won't snap back overnight. FAA staffing is still stretched, and airlines still need to reposition planes and crews. We want to thank you for watching our special coverage of the historic government shutdown here on King 5 Plus. I'm Bridget Chavez, and stay with us. King 5 News at 9 is coming up next.